I've been enjoying making these videos, kind of sitting down, just talking about gear and different things. Last week, we talked about guitar picks and things like that. Very interesting. Kind of what I expected with the guitar picks. I know a lot of people love the Jazz 3s. They have to be like the most sold picks. It makes sense because you grab them and you instantly get like 5 to 10% better when it comes to shredding and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting. This week, though, I want to talk about why I'm selling the Fractal FM9. Which might be kind of weird. I just made a video why I stopped using amps, and basically I'm just talking about how I'm using the Fractal. But I need to go ahead and preface. I own a Fractal FM3. Let me grab it. FM3. And then over here, got the big FM9 with all the crazy stuff. It's got some dust on the bottom somehow. I don't know how that happened. I kind of fully decided that I'm going to sell the FM9. I wanted to explain why. So if you're someone who's interested in a Fractal, trying to get that, and you're unsure of which one to get, I'll just kind of lay out my perspective of why I'm deciding to get rid of the FM9. Back when I got the FM3, I said, what the heck, I'm gonna put my name on the waiting list for the FM9. Just might as well. And so back in January of this year, I got the email, and at that point, I had the FM3. I guess I've only used the FM3 at this point, pretty much strictly for 4 to 5 months probably, and it's absolutely incredible. It just sounds great. Made a whole video talking about it basically. And I said, what the heck, I'm gonna get the FM9. It can do more things, got way more foot switches. You can do like dual amps and probably all kinds of crazy stuff. So I've used it in the studio exclusively. I haven't gigged it yet, which is part of my reason for kind of wanting to sell it, is every time I have a gig, I just feel completely comfortable with this little FM3 that it can do everything. Like I've programmed, I'm gonna make a whole video, but I've programmed these 3 buttons, which I love about the Fractals. Like I've programmed these to do 9 different things, right? So if you see me performing with this, I'm gonna make a video breaking it down. I can change 9 different sounds, whether it's amps or effects and things like that. So I'm using this kind of as an FM9 in a way, right? It's got 9 buttons. And, or it has 3 buttons, but they're programmed to be 9. And I've got the FM9 and I've been using it at the studio, just recording with it. It's super easy, sounds great. And kind of a month ago or so, I realized, I looked down at it and I'm like, I've literally programmed, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4. I programmed 5 buttons out of the 9. So like you get this, you have all these options and things like that. And literally as of now, on the preset I use all the time, I have not, 4 or 5 out of the 9 buttons used. Is it 9? Yeah, it's 9, right? I will say on that patch, I do have like 4 amps. Like I have a Fender, a Marshall, and 2 Friedman amps. So I have like a bunch of different, I programmed one of the buttons to switch through all 4 amps. So it's doing a lot. And I got delays and tap tempos and all that kind of stuff. But I haven't, since January, it's been 6 months now, 5, 6 months, I haven't been tempted to been tempted to bring it out to a show. And also I was like, everything I have programmed right now, even though it's really awesome, 4 amps and delays, I can easily copy that same exact patch over to my FM3. There's really nothing different. Really the only thing I did with the FM9 is I actually moved my preset from the FM3 over to the FM9. I just kind of added a few things to it. Well, I guess it was just a few amps, really. I don't think I've touched anything. I did do another thing. I added another like overdrive kind of pedal thing. So it does much more, but every day I literally use an amp and a speaker, reverb delay, and then like an overdrive. That's like that's literally 99.9% of what I'm using. And I just don't feel like I'm coming close for a $1,700 pedal, even though it's amazing. I don't think I'll ever come close to needing all 9 buttons or come close to even feeling like the CPU power of like the patches and things like that. Everything I can do, I can easily do on the FM3. And so for that reason, I'm just gonna sell it. It'd be nice to get something that gives me a different sound. That's another thing. The FM9 and the FM3, they sound the exact same. They're the same sounds, especially with the way I'm using it now. If you start getting to the extremes of the FM9 with different delays and amps and all that, and you start really building out crazy patches, yeah, the FM9 can get crazier sounds than the FM3 because of that, but I never push it to that level to need that. And so to me, it's 2 pieces of equipment that sound the exact same. And when I get a call to go to a gig or do anything, the FM3 is what I grab instantly. I rely on it. I know it. I'm comfortable with it, and it has all the sounds I need. In the past year or longer, probably, if you've heard me play guitar, you're either hearing the Fractal or you're hearing my Marshall Jubilee. I've been kind of interested in things like the Boss tube amp expander, the aux box, or the 2Notes Capture X, something that's a kind of a load box or has speaker simulation built in. I think those have effects too, all of those. I think that would give me another sound for my studio. And if I got like other amps in the future, I can easily run them through that. And I'm trying to debate which one would be the best for just kind of plugging in the best sounds. It would also be nice for live like playability and things like that if I wanted to go gig with that device. That's where I've been kind of leaning. I like the aux box sound. I don't know if you guys know anything about those products or this style of like a load box speaker simulator, please let me know down in the comments what to check out and what your opinion is and your experience is. I've been kind of liking the Universal Audio aux box from what I've seen. I've never played one. I played through one, but it was just for the attenuator. It wasn't even like going speaker sim or anything like that. And I'm trying to figure out which would be best. I kind of like the aux for it has like delay, reverb, compressor, and obviously the speakers and stuff. So it has all that kind of built in. I think I like the sounds of it from what I've heard. Obviously, I've never played it in person. The only thing is if I ever wanted to play live, I feel like it's not a good live thing, and it's super expensive. If it sounds incredible, it's probably worth it for the price, but to only be able to use it in the studio and never be able to bring it out live, pretty much. You could bring it out live, it's got 1/4-inch outs, it's got a weird power supply, which always makes me feel uncomfortable. That's actually one feature about the Fractals I love, is that it's a standard like power supply. I don't know what you call them, but like you plug an amp into it and all that. Like the Quad Cortex, well, I guess it's probably just the Quad Cortex has like a weird power supply, and it's always like, I never played one, but I just like, man, that'd be so, I feel like you have to buy like 2 or 3 of those power supplies just to bring as a backup, because no one's gonna have that power supply. Same thing with the aux. If you go out and wanted to gig, it's got a weird power supply that makes kind of no sense to have. And then if it breaks or you lose it or something, now you don't have it, and you're literally, if that's what you're relying on for your show, can't use it. But the videos I've heard in the studio, I'm thinking like, okay, I could plug my amp, I could have a mic'd up sound if I wanted to go that route, like actually mic up a speaker, or I could just go direct and kind of use the effects and things like that, have different sounds, different options like that. And then you got the tube amp expander, which is kind of like an aux, but I don't really know the difference. I feel like I saw one comment on the tube amp expander, which was kind of a joke, but I feel like listen to the videos, I think it's true. Someone said, well, great, now I can take my vintage Plexi and make it sound like a Boss Katana amp, like practice amp, which it sounds like that to me, because you plug your amp into it and there's like a built-in solid state power amp or something like that, and I feel like it kind of makes it super digital sounding. I feel like the aux doesn't make it digital like that. But the cheapest option, which I'm a fan of, I have a 2Notes Capture over there, which is a load box, has a slight like a built-in attenuation feature to it. But what's cool is you get a line out and it has like a built-in speaker simulation. It's not the best, but it gets the job done. But you can take the line out, plug it into your computer, and then bring up more speaker sounds on the computer. I really like that. But the Capture X is super cool because you can, it's got actual like built-in, I guess IRs you'd call them, in the device itself. It's super convenient. It's got a pretty traditional power supply. You can go on stereo. It's got all those features. I'm kind of leaning in that direction. It's literally over half the price of the aux and the tube amp expander. But I've never played it. So if you guys have played those devices or have any opinions, please let me know. I'm trying to figure that out, because I'm probably soon going to be selling the FM9, and I'm trying to figure out what to get to add to the studio and also add as an option for playing live. So, in the studio or live, I can mic up my amp. I could run possibly into one of these like aux or Capture X type sounds, or I can go straight up with a Fractal. And the same thing live. Live, I could bring out the amp, mic it up if I wanted to. Go, probably won't do that, but if I wanted to, I could. Or I could go direct with a Fractal, or I could use like a load box IR thing and try that out. But nothing bad to say about the FM9. I'm not selling it because there's anything inherently bad about it. It's just how I play and the sounds I go after, I don't need that, and I feel like I could sell it and get something else that I probably would use more and give me other options. It sounds, has the same sounds for me as the FM3, so it's not really adding anything. It's just kind of adding, really the only thing it's adding for me personally for how I use it is the foot switchability, which I thought was going to be super beneficial, but now after kind of like mastering my what is it called, like custom layout foot switching thing with the FM3, I'm super comfortable with it, and I don't feel like I need, if you know the foot switching on the FM3, you can kind of like bank up that 3 buttons can turn into not FM9. You can theoretically have it like emulated FC12, I think they call it, which is a 12 button thing. You can get those 3 buttons into 4 different kind of screen type deals. And it actually works super well. It sounds like it'd be confusing, but it works well once you program it and get it kind of down. So it sounds the same. I would like to get something that allows me to get a different sound in the studio. And I don't know what that'd be. I'm thinking it would be the load box IR type deal, Capture X, aux box, or something like that. But it might not be that. I don't know what else it'd be. If you have any other recommendations, let me know. I mean, it might be another amp. It might be another modeler. I know I've been wanting to try out the Quad Cortex. I have a few friends that have one, so I think I'm going to try to borrow one and either do a comparison video of the Quad Cortex, see how it sounds. I've never played one, so it might be way better than the Fractal. I do not know yet. So we'll have a video going, kind of on that. Basically, yeah, I'm selling the FM9. It's a great unit. It's just too much for me. It's insane the things that you can do. And I just find that I haven't in the last 5 to 6 months came close to using any level of it that especially, well, at least any level that the FM3 can't do. And I'm like, well, if I'm not going to be using it as a feature that's more useful than FM3 for me, if I have a gig, I'm going to bring out the smaller, easier thing to tote around if I'm getting the same sounds, right? That's kind of my mindset. So I'm wanting to get rid of it just for that reason and try to get something new, a different sounding thing for the studio, something for amps, or I really don't know. I'm kind of open-minded. So if you guys have any recommendations that you'd like to see, let me know down in the comments if you have any opinions or recommendations when it comes to the load box kind of deal, like speaker IR out thing. If you know any information about that, let me know. And also let me know if this helped you out. If you were trying to think about getting a Fractal and figure out what you wanted, maybe you realize that the FM3 is probably enough for what you're doing, or if you think that you're going to need those extra things, get the FM9. Because I will say, with the FM3, I personally, and I don't use that much, I'm very close to maxing out the CPU of that. So if you're trying to do very complicated things with the FM3, especially with delays and things like that, you will probably hit the CPU and you'll be kind of frustrated with that. FM9 Turbo, on the other hand, I feel like there's an infinite amount of things you can do with like most complicated delays and all that. So if that's a thing, if you're not really big into effects and all that, and you're pretty simple and you just want to kind of simple model an amp and things like that, the FM3 is probably perfect for you. But if you're trying to get crazy effects and delays and wah, like every effect's under the sun, which is totally possible under FM9, you're probably gonna go with the FM9 or the Axe-FX3 instead of the FM3, because you will certainly run out of storage. So I hope this is beneficial. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments, and I'll see you guys back next time.